Hello and welcome back to another episode of Sitar Gurukul. On the last class, I remember that we were discussing on how to play vistaar. Now, vistaar can be rather complicated, but it also can be rather simple. In today's class, of course, since we are beginners, we are going to try to learn the concept of vistaar, try to feel it, and try to play it as seamlessly as we hear it from the great masters. So, as I already explained, that Vistar is something that it's a thought process that runs alongside the tal or the rhythm, but it doesn't necessarily go with it. So what I mean to say is it's going to be parallelly moving with the rhythm, but it is not going to really have any relationship to it. So no matter what the rhythm is, it does not, it will not, no matter how fast or slow you're going with the rhythm, your vistar will not be affected by is what I'm trying to say. So the vistar, the only probably the only concept that will be missing from music from vistar is the concept of rhythm. So on the last class, I showed you a rather simple line that I have already showed you once when we were discussing alaap. If you haven't watched that episode, I suggest that you go back to it because I have explained a very simple alaap and the movements that can go along with it. And all those lines can be easily used as Vistar as well. So, just a recap on the four lines that I showed you on the last episode. Sorry. And then we allowed some breathing space. Now, the trick about this is the management of time. So you need to have, you need to be able to identify where you're leaving the composition, and then you also need to be able to identify the correct amount of time, or rather an approximate amount of time that you're playing those four lines in, and then you need to have a backup plan on how to make it seamless of your journey back to the composition with the rhythm. So I'm going to try to briefly explain about my plan for these four lines, but first we need to play the composition. So as always, I have picked out 40 BPM on my practicing app on the tabla, and we are going to grab onto the composition from the 12th beat. If you notice, the thing I just did, instead of playing, I played all the three gas that were required for this composition, but right after that, where the re was supposed to be, so instead of that, for this specific bistar, you're going to play just a ga, and then probably a small stroke on the sa, just to have like a formal ending. So this you have to note down first. From the third ga or the third beat, two, three, four. So those four beats, the first plan is keeping those four beats aside. Let's try that one more time. That out of the way, I believe that this is pretty much clear to you. So the first 4 beats, you need to play the composition like this. So that's the side. Now our target is from the sixth beat. One, two, three, four, 5, 6. Now, one thing, if you heard it very carefully, you're going to notice that I said 6, and right after that, I started with the line I just played. So, if I really calculate it, it's going to be somewhere around 5.5, 6.5, really. But with those fraction calculations, you don't really have to go there yet. As I mentioned, this is not time sensitive. I mean, it is, but again, it's not. So what I mean by that is, it doesn't have to be from 5, it doesn't have to be from 6, it can be from 7, it can be from 2, it can be from any beat. But the essence is that you have to linger around the notes and do whatever that you want to do, but you just have to be very careful, because the composition makes more sense when you grab it from the 12th beat. So you just have to keep your ears open and make sure that you know when the 12 is approaching. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Taking my time, and then that was a different approach. Coming back. One more time. The third ga, and then so in order for you to make it seamless like that, so you need to let the sa dilute, and the timing needs to be something like that. When your sitar is running out of breath, if I may call it, that's where you want the 12 beat to arrive. So you can start right when your sitar is running out of breath, or the sound is slowly fading away, or has faded away. So at the nick of that time is where the essence of this beauty is going to be. So the strategy for this is to not go very fast, otherwise you're just going to have so much time left. To not go very slow, that you're going to run out of time, but to be there right before the 12 beat is around. So I would say something around the 9th or 10th beat, and then you have that sustained power of the sitar for 2 more beats. One more time. Six. I have a feeling that this is going to cause you some trouble. And that is always a good thing when this causes you trouble. That means that you're thinking. Now, I am always available if you think that there's something that you do not understand about this. But I would suggest that when you practice this, provided that you are rather comfortable in vilambit teen tal, and when I say comfortable, I just mean that you are being able to play all the lessons that we have showed you so far, and everything's adding up to some 12, whatever you need to. But the way to practice this is should be, you know that we are going to play the first three gas or the first three beats of tintal starting from one. So the one is this is one, anyways. So after that you need to count till three beats. So two more gas. So that's the first, second, third, fourth. Now you have the first four beats out of the way. Then you wait for two more beats, which is 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you just have to make sure that you're not rushing it. There should not be a sensation of rush when you're playing, and that's going to make it sound beautiful. It's probably going to take you just 2 or 3 or a maximum of 4 days to start to really get what's going on over there, and you spend a week with it, and you know exactly what, and voila, you have just learned a new skill. So that's it for today. On the next class, I'm going to show you an interesting format that Ustad Vilat Khan used to play quite a lot, as a building, as like a bridge that's going to connect a rather fast-paced presentation from a rather slow one. So more on that on the next class. Till then, take care and happy Reyes.